You're requested to state your name, record, and moment of time used to present your remarks in order that others may be given the opportunity to speak. The normal process is on any agenda item for the chair to read the item from the agenda. The board is given an opportunity to comment on the issue and place a motion on the floor. An opportunity for discussion may be presented, at which time the public may participate. Roll call vote will follow. For attendance today, roll call, please.
Kyle.
Here.
Slosik.
Here.
Hibbs.
Here.
Would you all please stand for the pledge of allegiance? I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Right, so we have a motion to approve the agenda, and I move to have an amendment.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda, moving. Item 5B from the consent agenda and placing on the regular agenda.
All it. Should we call it 6A? We'll let Amber talk and then we'll do that.
Perfect.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Kyle.
Yes.
Slosik.
Yes.
Hibbs.
Yes.
All right, so the consent agenda today, 5A, approved regular session minutes for March 29, 2023 and March 2023 claims. 5B, approved claims as audited. Approved claims as audited and authorized the county auditor and recorder to issue payments of the same. The listing of claims paid at this meeting and all claims paid current month will be published as part of the first meeting of the following month. 5C, file clerk of district court report March 2023. 5D, approval of master. 5D has been moved. 5E, file manure management plans for Banger Finisher Farm ID 59034 at 1326 Hopkins Avenue Union with no changes. Larson ID 67141 73890 160th Street, St. Anthony with no changes. P 341 ID 67142 at 1422 Davidson Avenue, St. Anthony with no changes. 5F, personnel changes, through status change, secondary roads, Donald Box. Second from truck drive 3 to patrolman 2, full time from 2775 to 2784 per hour, effective April 15th, 2023. Approved status change, attorney's office, Travis Ponder, assistant county attorney, full time from $71,456.40 to $80,765.04, effective April 16th, 2023. VAWA Boca grant contract. Approved new hire, treasurer's office, universal clerk, Courtney Savina. Does anyone know how to pronounce that? Thank you.
Courtney.
Thank you. Get a couple of those classes together and it's tricky. All right, permanent full-time, 40 hours per week, $17.56 per hour, start date on or after noon today, April 12th, 2023. Rehire temporary election workers to complete state of Iowa required training before April 30th, 2023. Kathy Baker, Randy Baker, Phyllis Egerbrod, Linda Fuller, Jeff Von Onnen, Pat Von Onnen, and Bev Warden. Approved new hire, auditor recorder assistant, Maria Urbina. Auditor recorder assistant, recording and passports, full-time, 40 hours per week at $18.75 per hour. Start date on or after April 13th, 2023. And approved new hire, shared position in public health, board of supervisors, auditor recorder, administrative assistant, Kelly Elam, full-time, 40 hours per week. $22 per hour, start date on or after April 13th, 2023. And I apologize for the mispronunciation of any names in there. That is the end of our consent agenda. We have a motion.
I'll make a motion that we approve the consent agenda as presented.
And I'll second. I got a comment if I could.
Yes.
On the claims, there was a claim in the sheriff's department for car wash and wiper blades for $1,700 on the Visa bill.
Yeah, then what that is, that's a prepaid quick start run specials, and we can get, I think it's for $675. So we purchase 10 washes per car for the deputies, since Rainbow had changed hands. There's not a real way to be able to track that through our claims. So those cars are purchased through quick start specials, 10 washes per card issued each deputy.
Oh, okay. Oh, right. That makes more sense.
You thought that seemed high.
It seemed a little high, but
It's really good feedback. They get money on the faces.
They threw in the wiper blades.
There we go. We have the motion and the second. Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Kyle,
Yes.
Slosik,
yes.
Tibbs.
Yes.
Consent agenda is carried, and we'll now go on to the number 6, Arts and Culture Alliance Master Plan Executive Director Amber Danielson today.
Where do you want me? What's the best place?
Do you want to be on the camera or not?
Sure.
If you do, then maybe actually right over there.
Yeah, just don't kill yourself. Okay, thank you. Carol, we already have one.
Yep.
Jared, you want one? Does anyone else want one?
I would like one, so
Okay.
you got one with the minutes and everything. Thank you. Okay.
All right, I'll just hand it out. And then this is just the overview of the themes, so I can make some of these.
Thank you.
Yeah, Amber Danielson, Executive Director of the Arts and Culture Alliance. I wanted to have an opportunity to come and share this master plan with all of you. Several of us have had conversations, so Carol, I think you've heard this presentation like 15 times, so bear with me. This opportunity presented itself a couple years ago. We know that Marshtown in particular has been through a lot with natural disasters, along with most of Marshall County with the derecho as well. And so we really saw an opportunity to partner with the city of Marshalltown and the chamber and many other stakeholders in the community to really start thinking about what does it look for us to rebuild our community in a unique and distinct way and feel authentic to the people that live there. So a consultant was hired and a steering committee was formed. A 15-member volunteer committee was formed, and over the course of about 12 months went through extensive community engagement. In addition to doing the community engagement for this effort, the consultant also spent quite a bit of time diving deep into the already existing plans that we have in Marshtown in particular. There's quite a few plans around the redevelopment of downtown, our parks and trail systems, Highway 14 corridor, and the main entrances into our community. And so the intention of this was not for it to be another plan. Instead was to be really an implementation strategy on how we accomplish those plans in a creative way. And in a way that the community feels a part of community building. The plan you can dive through. I will not go through all of it. I know you guys are all very capable of reading it. Although we wanted to make it short and sweet and easy to read, there is quite a bit of information in here. We really see this as an opportunity to create greater attachment and connection with our community members into our community, because we know that when people feel connected to their community, they're more likely to engage and to take part. We have a lot of amazing events. I'm looking at the Conservation Center and so many other places in our community. This really is an invitation for our community to take part in all the amazing things we have going on and all the things that are coming into the future. And so through this process, 5 placemaking themes were created: revitalize over restore, build bridges, activate hope, elevate youth, and heritage of innovation. This was resounding themes of what we've heard in our conversations with community members, with community groups, and also what was already existing in the plans that I mentioned earlier. And revitalize over restore is one that really is just talking about the importance that beauty matters. When we are rebuilding our community, I know there was recently a joint county and city meeting that's talking about the redevelopment of the gathering space around the courthouse. There's so much opportunity for us to build community while we're creating our community, and really create spaces that are energizing spaces where people feel connected and are invited and feel welcome to participate in what we have going on. The other part of that too that I'll mention, we also talked about the welcoming areas into our community. And so I think there's opportunity and partnership with the county too on the main entrances as you enter the communities along the way. Build bridges is literal and figuratively metaphorical. There are lots of opportunities for us to literally build bridges, bike paths and bridges over some of our creeks and rivers, but also more building bridges of all the communities that make up our community. Activate Hope is really as simple as it sounds. I think there's lots of opportunities for us to continue to celebrate as a community. We have a lot of things going on in our community that are worth celebrating. And I think the more that we can come together and build that community pride, the more people feel something. Elevate Youth is also pretty simple, right? Our future generation of wanting people to come back and choose our community as home. And so how do we make them feel part of this work, elevate their voices, and make them feel empowered in the work that we're doing in our community. And Heritage of Innovation, there's lots of engineering and manufacturing companies that chose Marshalltown as their home. And so we want to continue to elevate and amplify that heritage of innovation and celebrate that. And towards the end is really just showcasing some opportunities for some policy change, some opportunities for how we can fund some of these ideas, and really just continue to collaborate together to make this a reality. In conjunction with the master planning process, the Arts and Culture Alliance went through strategic planning. And so we wanted to make sure that we were set up to be in a position to successfully implement this plan. So this is our top priority. It's a 10-year plan. It's ambitious, it's big, and it's intentionally set that way. And really, we recognize that this plan is belonging to our entire community because we cannot do it alone. So this really is an invitation for everyone to take part and invite them to join with us. Questions?
Well, it's a 10-year plan. So you got members in place, your steering committee. With it being a 10-year plan, what's the first steps of action?
Yeah, so several of these themes are already in the process of creating subcommittees. Specifically, we're working with the school district on the Elevate Youth in particular, recognizing that some of these themes are already happening in other ways. And that was the one thing too we recognized is that some of this in the plan you'll see is like, we're already doing some of this. We are, some of it's new ideas, but it was really an opportunity for us to put all of it in one place and kind of start talking from the same narrative. So a lot of subcommittees I think are going to be created to really focus on this. And then greater partnerships in the definition around collaborations between some of the key stakeholders in the community, Chamber Alliance, MCBDs in particular in the downtown. And then I think there's some opportunity for some policy changes too on some opportunities in particular in partnership with the city on just how we fund some of these initiatives.
Well, I appreciate it if you not necessarily just reach out to us as board members, but other members of our county team. We were talking and we're hearing about what's going on with the courthouse grounds, getting ready to get the fences out of there and working on their buildings and grounds or something that our sheriff's department that gets into this or conservation.
Yeah, we did have some discussion, I think at one of the Lynn Creek district meetings about involving Conservation Center and perhaps Sand Lake as two kind of anchor areas that the county's involved with the Lynn Creek, as the Lynn Creek district is developed on both ends of the trail. So
yeah, absolutely. Lucas, you just got signed up.
Yeah. You know that you got this electronically.
Yes.
You sent it to me.
Absolutely.
Send it to my work.
Yes, and I would invite people to check it out digitally because a lot of the stuff in here is live links. So you can
cool.
Yeah. It was a team effort. I think, at the end of the day, we want to see vibrant communities and vibrant communities equal people that are connected and feeling a part of something. So we want to see a courthouse square that's filled with people and people gathering where people feel welcome. And so we think through creativity that can be accomplished. So I'll absolutely send you a copy of it. And if anyone, is reading through this and sees something, please don't hesitate to reach out, ask questions. this is exciting time to be in our community.
Absolutely. Yeah, motion, Steve.
Thank you.
Awesome.
All
Thank you for the
right,
presentation.
thanks.
All right, on to moving to 6A. Was amended from our original agenda here. Approval of master matrix and construction permit application for Marshall Ridge Farms LLC. It's the Marshall Ridge Farms dairy expansion. And we'll start off with, I know we had a comment that was written to you.
Yeah, I received a written comment on April 4th.
And is this individual here?
Yes, it's from John Allen and he is here.
Would
He
you like
wants-
to read it or do you want to read
He
it?
wants me to read it.
Okay.
And I spoke to him that day on the phone, after he dropped it off. I wasn't, in that building when he dropped it off. Jesse accepted it. And so, Marshall County Board of Supervisors. Concerns with Marshall Ridge Dairy expansion. The main concerns I have with the dairy expansion and the existing dairy are the truck traffic safety issues and the amount of dust created during their haylage and silage harvesting operations. I have had dust control applied for a number of years in front of my residence, and after a few hours of truck traffic, it is pretty well eliminated. Along one of the dairy's haylage routes, our pasture along 250th Street had issues last summer. We had 4 calves and 2 cows die after they developed respiratory issues one day following a haylage harvesting cutting. It's been proven pneumonia can develop from exposure to dust. We also had to mow down the grass in the pasture because the cows would eat the grass when covered with so much dust. With 60 cow-calf pairs running on 50 acres, one should run out of grass instead of having to mow it off. I have discussed my concerns recently with Kevin Blood. He told me it is their intention to control the dust this year with a water truck. Intentions are good if followed through, but if it is not adequate enough to control the dust, and I incur economic costs because of the dust, what is my recourse? Truck traffic concerns are also an issue as there are uncontrolled T intersections along Benford Avenue. There have been numerous occasions when trucks have pulled out in front of my wife or me as we travel on Benford. When speaking with one of the drivers after one incident, he told me he thought he could beat us. In Kevin's letter to the Board of Supervisors and Paul Geilenfeld requesting that 245th Street be raised to meet their new driveway, their goal was stated for wanting safe public travel. On November 22nd, 2022, this request was approved, thus costing the county money. Possibly adding stop signs and enforcement at uncontrolled intersections would be as feasible as raising the road for safe public travel. Limiting speed on trucks could also reduce the amount of dust. With expansion, there are costs, but I don't feel that I should have to incur costs caused by their operation. John K. Allen. And again, we received this actually on April 5th, 2023 in the auditor recorder's office.
Do you have any further comment today on this issue?
If you have any questions, I will answer.
So John, I just want to make sure I've got everything here. Are you proposing like a speed limit for trucks on the road?
Whatever you guys think would be
Yeah.
acceptable.
And then
You know,
stop
stop
signs
signs would be appreciated.
on the uncontrolled intersections. And you said you've talked to Kevin, right?
Yes, I have.
And he intends to do with what he can to control dust.
Well, he said he's gonna use a water truck but
How often are they doing the silage?
the haylage.
Yeah.
Probably every 28 days.
At least 3 times this summer, isn't it? If not.
It's more like 5.
And you got the corn silage.
Then the corn silage. I knew that was a separate one. Yeah.
Paul?
We do have quite a few uncontrolled T intersections on our rock system, just, you know, a lot of it has to do with vehicles who have to slow down and navigate the T, but it doesn't prevent the, you know, the yielding to the right, which most people do not do or even know that's how you handle them. We can certainly look at intersections that don't, you know.
Are you opposed to stop signs on those intersections?
No, there's just, of course, there are people who think stop sign on every intersection, and it's the quickest way to make stop signs meaningless in your road system. So you you look at where the traffic's at, and there's quite a few uncontrolled intersections that are uncontrolled four-way intersections in Marshall County that have great sight distance, except for when there's 11-foot corn on them.
Yeah.
And then you really can't see anything. So we call them corn corners.
Yeah.
We look for them. We know that they're there some years and not there other years. And I'm certainly willing to put up stop signs for those.
Well, it seems like this particular area has so much traffic. It's worth doing something.
Yeah, and there are several intersections that are on the Story County line to the four-way uncontrolled that we'll just have to look there and to get resolutions for those stops.
About the idea of limiting speed with truck.
Well, I don't want to speak for the sheriff, but what I usually tell people is that speed enforcement on rock roads is not really feasible for Marshall County to do.
Right.
It can be done if you have a spot problem where you know something's going to happen, but with the number of deputies we have and 700 miles of rock road.
Right. But again, this seems like a unique area. For no reason.
Typically, if we receive a complaint, we will run extra speed enforcement. We'll have those conversations with those drivers, and more times than not, that will cure the issue. But you have some of the outliers, and obviously visibility for us. Yeah, it's one of those things where once they see us, it slows people down, but as we're on, continues to go back and goes that bad behavior driving. But we do receive complaints. Address those. Again, it's and I feel for John. I have to live on one of those roads. 4 or 5 times a year, it's difficult, especially on dry.
Are they usually so my question is, Kevin usually use the same drivers? Are they people who, like, once you talk to them,
Yeah, it's pretty much the same driver. It's
Thomas, yeah, but he's got a bunch of employees.
usually it works
just-
pretty good.
Yeah, they're usually pretty experienced drivers, but they go quickly.
I'll add too that in the daytime, even in the daytime, with dry conditions, a loaded 55-mile-an-hour truck looks like it is flying. It really looks like it's going fast. It's not breaking the law. It's just, but it's making a ton of dust. And that my biggest struggle with the haylage and silage is just keeping the road, because when they're hauling that stuff, they don't happen to care if it gets wet or if it rains or what, because they can reduce a road to being closed in less than 4 hours. You know, if it gets soft, so they'll just keep running it because it's all, you know, time is money, and that's what they're getting paid to do, is haul it.
Well, we as supervisors are charged with safety of the community, the county. So I guess whatever we need to do to step up, make things palatable for that community. Okay.
I've had conversations with residents out there that wish they didn't live where they live because of the trucks scare them, you know.
I've heard people express when they've got the teenage drivers, you know, that they were experienced drivers, but you got that teenage driver. I've heard folks express that.
45 is plenty fast, gravel road and semi.
But 55 is legal
Yeah.
in the daytime.
Daytime.
But can we change that?
Yeah.
It's like, We can change that, Kim.
You know, and it's one of those things too, that, you know, with, we recently received a speed trailer that has data collection. That could be an option too, to see what the volume is, on specific roads, what the average speed is during the day, and that might be, so we have some data to actually see what's the just perception. That might be one of those things too, that, we can set up certain locations. I believe probably the first harvest of the haylage would be a pretty good parameter on where things set with the truck traffic and volume. I'm kind of curious myself.
Yeah.
They run pretty well.
Is this his second summer with being at 8,000 head or his limit or is it first?
Well, the way I read it, he's wanting to.
Yeah, he's expanding.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I thought we went to
2.8.
6,
He
and
was-
now we're going from 6 to 8.
I was thinking it was probably the 8, but
Yeah, I just didn't know if he- what
Something
he
like
had,
that.
what he had to. Yeah, because I mean, you snap your picture, get 2,000 head. You build it up, but.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is that as he's growing, this summer is gonna be worse than last summer because he's getting silage and haylage for more cattle. He's having to go further and wider with his haul radius. So they're.
yes.
I got one comment about if you monitor truck speed. If you'll notice when their milk trucks go down the road, you can walk faster than what they travel.
Mhm.
So,
So they can slow down, is what you're saying.
well, I'm saying maybe that they don't want the dust on the milk trucks.
Yeah, but they don't care about it. That's what I wondered. We just took a few steps here to be more proactive in that. That makes sense.
Make a decision today on something.
Well, I usually bring a stop sign back to the board for resolution to make it, enforceable. How does that work as far as the code? If we put one up, and we don't have a resolution, it's still enforceable under state code. It's
State code, yes, yeah,
But we usually back ours up with local.
as long as they meet DOT
Correct.
specifications.
Mhm.
I assume we get the stop signs up as soon as possible. I think we're all in agreement that we will support that resolution and it's enforceable under state code, so I'd like to see that. As for, I think it's just something we're gonna have to monitor. I don't want to restrict expansion of agriculture in the state when there's some things we can all be working together on. And especially monitoring how that water truck's working. Is that really working with dust control or not? And if there's something else we need to do infrastructure wise as a county for those particular roads to keep dust down and keep it safe. I also I'd like to see the traffic speed counts that are out there. And I'd be open to a reduction in the speed limit out there.
Mhm.
And I don't know what that number is. I'd have to get some better recommendations on what exactly that would be. Maybe it's a 40 mile an hour. I don't know.
I don't know the roads. Is there a possibility of putting a stop sign and now we just reroute the truck traffic to another road and now we have this problem on the next road? No.
No, it's more of a,
It's a pretty straight shot.
Yeah.
Earlier, look at load trucks go one way and
Yeah, it's just.
it's pretty constant.
Was this your first year having said cattle getting respiratory illness from the dust?
I don't know. And I can't prove that happened, but a day afterwards, it happened. They were treated. Next day, they were dead. Nothing else got sick. So,
That's just something important to know about. But that just happened that this one incident has
One
been years
incident.
since.
but what's to say there isn't scar tissue in others? They'll have problems down the road.
Kevin has been very good to work with here for us in the last few years that I've been involved. Supervisor. So, let's see if he'll take care of this dust issue. I know it was a lot more summertime. We had the same issue at our house. See if he'll step up with the dust control.
That's all I can ask.
Give me the intersections where you had those calls, just so I can.
245th and Denver. It's closed now. I assume the trucks will be coming.
Yeah.
So I'm just noting, we talked about 3 steps here. Looking at limiting speed on that road, stop signs on some of the intersections, and then maybe communication about dust control with Kevin.
Did that come from the supervisors or the sheriff's? Conversation with Kevin.
Well, if it comes down to the legal and traffic enforcement, obviously I can answer that. It's the well-being community that might. Supervised for us,
Especially with the discussion of the dust control, most importantly.
You had just you decide between the 3 of us later. Yeah,
You have to take action.
yes,
And there might believe we can take action because there was action as it is part of the consent agenda.
Yeah.
We just pulled it, so
Yeah.
we just need to say what we have.
So the action is the
Is
approval of the permit,
Yes,
masturbate, matrix and
Yes.
construction permit application.
yes.
I would make a motion then to approve the master matrix construction permit application for Marshall Ridge Farms LLC.
I'll second that.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Do we have any further discussion? I'd like to make note that it's important that we allow for agriculture expansion and growth in our county. At the same time, I think we have the ability with our department heads and the goodwill of our people, like Kevin Blood in this instance, to make sure that the operation is up to standards to the name. And at the same time, it's our responsibility to make sure that the infrastructure in place is safe and is a good balance for what the needs are. So that's, I think we just need to constantly be reviewing to make sure that what we want to have out there for this type of business. Any other thoughts? All right, roll call vote, please.
I'll
Yes.
say
Yes.
yes.
Yes. Thank you, John.
Thank you.
Yes, thanks. All right, on to number 7, approve new special class C retail alcohol license 8 months for CP3 LLC, doing business as Carlson Par 3 at 1731 Taylor Avenue in Marshtown, effective May 1st, 2023 to January 1st, 2024. We have a motion to approve this.
I make the motion, we approve the special class C retail alcohol license 8 months for CP3, which is Collison R3, 1731 Taylor Avenue, Marshalltown. Effective May 1st, 2023 to June 1st.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Do we have any discussion?
Have they been communicated with about the next steps for this?
I believe everything's in place. Is what is the communication that I see.
Okay,
I think there was something held up and we got that. They had sent all their paperwork.
okay. Okay.
Any further comment? Hearing none, roll call vote, please.
Kyle,
Yes.
Wassick,
Yes.
Hibbs,
Yes.
Number 8, adopt resolution 2023-22, accepting the Destination Iowa program funds for 2023 of $400,000 for Greencastle Campground. Is this something that we feel is a requirement to read or that I must submit for?
I think you should read it.
Either backs up that bus. I don't think it really do.
I have no problem.
It's great news.
It is very.
Great. It's okay.
We'll have the resolution submitted to the record. Do we have any questions, comments on this?
Congratulations.
Yes.
Yeah.
Are we sure we really want to accept that?
Yes.
We do.
So Emily, what are next steps with that?
So actually I'm meeting with CGA this afternoon. We're gonna go over, so we're basing our, hopefully complete funding off of what we originally put it out to bid last time, and it came in 500,000 over. So we're gonna go back through the project, look over it, make sure it's the way we want it. They're gonna give us a new estimate, make sure that we're still in line with funding, and then hopefully put it out to bid sooner rather than later. So hopefully construction to begin, right? These are our hopes. But there's a lot of ifs in there and we've just got to go.
Is there a timeline for spending funds?
They are ARPA funds, technically. And so,
So 2 years.
yeah, we gotta have them done by end of 26.
Yeah, we have to have them committed by the December of 24 and then spent by 26. So, I mean, it's plenty of time when it's already
After we look at what happened with the siren grant,
yeah.
yeah, that takes forever.
Let's do it. You know, so hopefully, construction in spring is our hopes.
Well, I'm excited to make a motion then. If we adopt resolution number 2023, accepting the Destination Iowa program funds for 2023 of $400,000 for Greencastle Campground.
I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, roll call vote, please.
Kyle,
Yes.
Wassick,
Yes.
Hibbs,
Yes.
Number 9, adopt resolution 2023-23 to protect the will of the voters, approve revenue purpose statements for the allocation of local option sales tax revenue using Senate File 550. I believe this was brought to us by our county engineer. Any comments you'd like to share with us?
It's, I was just looking at the bills status right now. It's on their unfinished business calendar, but I think because this is a ways and means bill, it's exempt from like funnels and things, so it can be passed last minute, it can just go. But, it's a 1 cent increase in sales tax that really doesn't show up to anybody that buys things as an increase. Because it takes the local option cent away, takes every county's ability to do a new local option sales tax away. It just is against local control. You know, it's one of those things where.
They're proposing a statewide sales tax increase that basically takes the funds from the local option sales tax and limits the ability to even do local option sales tax. Do I have that right?
Yes, and the thing is, there's counties that are in favor of it because they don't have a local option sales tax. Is the number like 60 right now, the counties that have local option?
I don't know, but I thought it was.
It keeps going up.
It does, and I know that we need to get that on the ballot soon. For us here in Marshall County. But was this through your engineers association?
Yes, and we're.
You know, it's always interesting this, and then the ARPA resolution that we had wasn't on the supervisors, because I get yours, wasn't on the auditors. So I appreciate the engineers group
Well-
having this, and following this.
There's quite a few secondary roads departments throughout the state that if they do this, will lose a lot. It's because the revenue purpose statement that usually goes with the local option sales tax, once that expires, you can't do them again. Can't now, there's still a question on this because some counties have told me they have revenue purpose statements that don't expire. So then what happens? So they can then just go on and on. It's anyway, to me, it's just bad business because the voters voted for this local option sales tax for the purpose that we presented it to have.
And if this passes, when would it take effect?
I'm not sure on that, whether it would be, as of July. I'm not-
Does it?
Or is it after our stuff?
Well, that's my question. Does it supersede our timeline with local option sales tax?
I don't know the calendar on when it would take effect.
I would think it would be out at least a couple.
One section here.
Was it in the bill?
July first,
Usually
two
they
thousand
say the date.
twenty-four. I believe that's when all the provisions are, July first.
24.
So that would come right in.
Yes, it does. Yeah. It's right up.
The other thing that's, I don't know if it's maybe helping the bill along too, is that the first 3/8 of a cent goes to natural resources, which, that's excellent that they're gonna give more funding to natural resources.
Look at her smile.
I tell everybody Iowa has the lowest percentage of public land of all 50 states. Iowa is dead last as far as how much of our land is public.
Oh, and along those lines, we have also been getting legislation about this, and the county conservation system is not, we are staying in the middle on
You're
this.
neutral, unregistered
Yes.
on it. So this is,
Because we don't necessarily agree with the process, how it is.
so this is a Senate file. Have you talked Senator Edler?
I have not, and we'll give the resolution to them through ICE.
And from my understanding, we received from our lobbyists that ISAC has, is that the revenues that's currently in place doesn't change, but it's any renewals going forward, so that it's that local control of the local voters having that decision what to do with it, is the aspect that goes away. Now, with our resolution that we have today, it's specifically citing this section of the bill that we're opposed to. There's other parts of the Senate file 550 that have to do with elderly credits, homestead credits, military credits, a few other things. I'm not necessarily opposed to that part of the bill. I just want to make sure that's made known. But it's this particular part of the bill is what this resolution is for. There's also a part of the bill that has treating tax permit financing differently for counties versus cities, which goes that as well. But so it's kind of a mixed bag bill. And as I understand what's going on in the legislature right now, they're still trying to hammer out what they want to do with property taxes. This is a piece of it that they're debating with it. And the House and the Senate are kind of far apart, that they're running out of time in the session, and kind of hopeful that this falls off this year. But you're right, since it's a Ways and Means bill, this will be ready to go right away day one next year. So even if we escape this session,
Could be brought in the 11th hour of this session.
it can be brought in
Right.
and can be brought in right away next year. So
Yeah.
they conclude that session, then it's dead after next year.
And I've been told that our governor is not necessarily in favor of this. So that hopefully that has a little bit of pull, and maybe it not happen this year.
Right. Well, any further comment? We have a motion to adopt this resolution.
I'll make a motion that we adopt resolution 2023-0023 that says to protect the will of the voters, approve revenue purpose statements for the allocation of local option sales tax revenue Opposing Senate filed 550.
I'll second.
A motion and a second. Anyone like me to read this?
No.
Okay. This resolution will be submitted to the record. Any other further comments? Hearing none, roll call vote please.
Kyle,
Yes.
Slavin, Hibbs,
Yes.
All right, approved contract extension, PPME local 2003, secondary roads. This is to adjust wages to 7% for the union contract.
we had done this approval in December of 21 at 3.25 for each year, which seemed like a good adjustment at that time in the economic market. However, things have changed, and so this update was done after we had our budget meetings, and we took this back to the union, and this was approved by the union side, so it's signed by them.
They're the ones that made the recommendation for the 7%.
That was during our budget.
We did it.
meetings.
We did
You
it.
did.
For our budget work session.
During our budget works, our public budget work session with all.
And those were our numbers.
Yeah. And we were at 3.25 before, so. Now, as our attorney Mike Galloway said, this is the easiest thing we'll ever do.
Yeah. Are we in?
I guess, if I could just make a comment.
Yeah.
To me, at this point, it seemed a bit strong. I don't know if we can't guarantee that our other people that are non-union are going to be at the 7%.
Well, one of the things we don't have for this group is we do not have step increases like we do for our other unions. They don't get an increase by year. So that is different for this group than it is for our 3 sheriffs. We have 3 unions out here. So that is different. We do not have steps for our union employees at this time.
And in our budget work session, Paul brought this to us, he's requesting 10%. Some of our non-union are above this 7. And we just want to go 2 years and thought that 7 this year, 7 next year, knowing that it's unlikely that non-union is going to be that high next year. Who knows what happens?
So
That's
do you have any comments on?
Well, I mean, 7% is a strong increase, but 9% inflation. And I just want to make, I can't hire operators easy right now. I get applicants. I have some applicants on my desk right now, applications on my desk. I'm always for new operators because with the CDL requirements and we've increased using pup trailers with the tandem axles, so that requires Class A CDL. And those operators are hard to come. And I want to keep the good operators that we have and know that I have quite a few that are getting close to retirement. They can just say, for this money, I'll go fishing, and I want to try to give them every reason to stick around.
I think that was some of the discussion.
It was more of an average, I think, to try to, he had 10, that was for the 2 year and doing the 7 and 7. And trying to kind of keep people here was kind of that incentive.
And I remember your applicant pool had shrunk significantly.
We don't get near the applications. So when we post a job, I would have 2 or 3 dozen within a week. And now I might have 2 or 3.
Any further discussion?
I guess I hope the secondary road people are critical to me. That's the only thing that I have that involves the county is secondary road, keeping those, safe. I know this isn't happening completely across the board here. Working with the co-op side, they're not giving increases to this. They're also requiring CDLs, Class A.
Tell them where to apply for a job.
They're also making more than,
They are getting,
and they're also making more than this. From what we're hearing and trying to compete with them on a bond.
we're at 18 and 19. You go up. So anyway,
Yeah, the mill's over that. That's a big.
you want a motion? I can make a motion to approve contract extension for PPMA local 2003. Secondary roads to modify negotiated arrangements, increases effective July 1, 2023 and July 1 of 2024 with the following changes. Wages of 7% across the board for 7/1/2023 and also 7% across the board 7/1/2024. No other terms or conditions shall be modified until such time as it expires June 30th of 2025.
I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
So, Paul, you had, when we were having our budget discussion, you had brought some comparisons and the 7%. If I remember right, that doesn't get us high at all.
The comparisons that I brought to you were actually my non-union places where I'm trying to get back to where, other counties are at. We've got several positions that as far as ranking in 99 counties, we're
Yeah,
at
we were
the
down.
lower quarter.
Yeah,
But
I think
we've
there was there, I think we had some discussion about where your union employees were too. Where they,
As far
Your
as
supervisory ones.
I don't remember having the numbers as far as where we're at. I don't feel like we're way below where market is for operators. I just know that we have quite a few employees that are reaching, full eligibility for retirement. And if 5 would leave in like November, I'd be in trouble. I still hear from neighboring counties once in a while that start too high because we've had people that we've hired that applied at another county. We were higher than their initial, like quite a bit. No.
Right. Any further discussion? Hearing none, roll call vote, please.
Kyle,
Yes.
Lawson,
Yes.
Hibbs.
yes,
Right, number 11, purchase of the new 2024 Landau for 55B, 53 equipment trailer.
This is our, I've spoken with you about the trailer that we're going to, for the new day cab truck that we recently purchased. This is the trailer that would give us the hauling capacity that we can haul anything that we have on the ground as far as that goes. So we can get our own equipment if we have to retrieve anything that is needing repair, or if we need to take dozers or take excavators to work sites. It's an excellent trailer. It's a safer trailer to use because how some of the lowboy trailers have places where you can go up into them, like a breakover point where it tips and then you go down. This trailer is just a flat deck, and the axles of the back of the trailer actually just move forward, and then the flat deck, as the axles go up, the deck goes down, and you just drive right up onto a flat trailer. which is much safer for operators to put heavy equipment on. And so that'll work really nice for us and give us the hauling capacity.
$30,000.
Yes.
I'll make a motion that we approve to purchase the new 2024 Mandela 455B 53 equipment trailer.
Second.
A motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, roll call vote please.
Kyle,
Yes.
Wassick,
Yes.
Gibbs.
Yes.
Number 12, purchase of a new 2023 Kubota SSV 75 PHFRC skid loader.
And this will be a skid loader to replace one of our aging, I think it's a cat that we have. That's one of our older skid loaders. And we looked at trade, but then we just also looking at numbers that we were seeing on gov deals. So we think take the old one and put it on gov deals because we think it'll do better than our trade offer was. We just have looked at a bunch of different skid loaders over the years. We didn't take bids from all over the state because we, in looking at them, the Kubota is the only one that has this option to just roll on door that allows our operators to be able to get out safely and easily. And the operators just really like the way the cab configuration is. And it's options that that deer and cat don't have for the skid loaders. And so that's why I do have a quote from Deere that just showed up Friday afternoon. I suppose after somebody saw the agenda, they're like, I want to turn up the price. Deere doesn't offer the same options, and it's a little bit higher. It's 65,000 per quote for the Deere, and that would have been through Van Wall here.
So there's 65,000 for that without the same option?
Without they can't do the roll on door. It's a situation where you got to basically take the door off. Then this is it's better for the operators. The operators prefer the way the cab is set up on the Kubota and the controls too.
Mhm.
We really like ours. That's what, yeah. So things too.
Is this a track?
No, this one's wheel. It's a wheel.
How are you on skid loaders? You're fine.
Ours is on its last legs, but we put that on, so. It's gonna be.
What is yours worth?
I do not. I don't know how many hours are on the one that's going out. We can sure. Yeah, we can look at it. We can put them on the payment plan. We can.
Is yours
Sometimes.
wheeled? Is that we roll with wheels?
Yeah. What series is yours? Just like, is yours the 75?
Yep. Yep. Same thing.
I'll entertain a motion.
I would make a motion then to approve purchase of the new 2023 Kubota SSV 75 PHFRC skid loader from Central Iowa Farm Store, $64,084.03. This unit will be delivered in September and paid for fiscal year 2024 equipment.
Motion,
Second?
second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, roll call vote please.
Kyle,
Yes.
Wassick,
Yes.
Gibbs.
Yes.
13, we have secondary roads, the school year 23 Iowa DOT budget amendment.
So if you look at the fiscal year 23 version number 1, doesn't make incredible amounts of sense because amendment, but the first one is version 0. But version 1 is the amendment, which is actually the second of our budget. The big change on this is, and usually these budgets just mirror our local budget, just about perfect. The difference we have on this one is that We have a bridge project where the contractor is started winter works, they started the job. And it's a swap project, and the funding agreements for the swap bridge work have been all over as far as how the finances. But this one, we actually have to front end the project, and it's 100% reimbursed from the swap fund back to the county. So overall, the big picture isn't different, but there's the line item for bridge work in the 320s that's going to have $1.5 million in it. And it was originally amended on our budget down to 100,000. So that's it's not an issue with the state that a DOT budget doesn't match the local budget. But we have to have that expenditure and revenue shown in the budget for our annual report. Otherwise, when we turn in our annual report, we'll get some nasty letters from the DOT. So the one where you can see the one that will not match our local budget is line 5A, the swap bridge replacement funds. That's the revenue that's reimbursed. And then on the expenditures, it's the 020 construction money. You'll see that it's increased to 1,548,700. And that's just the increase of the 1,427,200. That is the contract price of the bridge. That may not be to the penny exactly what the project costs, but that's the contract amount. Other than those two things, it mirrors our local budget. And luckily, we have a nice ending fund balance, so we can still balance the checkbook and the process while we're paying for the bridge and waiting for the reimbursement.
How long do
And
you wait?
it's the reimbursement actually, as we do progress payments, we apply for the reimbursement for that amount. So it may just be a couple of week lag, but we don't have to work the whole project completed to get.
That was my question. Yeah. So I'll make a motion that we approve secondary roads FY 2023 Iowa DOT budget amendment.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none. Roll call vote, please.
Kyle,
Yes.
Classic,
Yes.
Pitts,
Number 14, secondary roads, Marshall County fiscal year 2024 secondary roads construction program.
You guys have hard copies of the program, right? We can go through the projects if you want. We can look at just the accomplishment year. If that's, the accomplishment year for this fiscal 24 is fiscal 24. So that's starting July 1, and to June 30th of next summer. And that's when these projects will be let to contractors at that time. Generally, the ones in the accomplishment year, those are a lock. We're going to get those done. The other years, the first through fourth priority year, all the way out to 28, are a reasonable estimation of what we're going to be able to do. Thanks to inflation, you've seen construction prices go up quite a bit over the last 2 years, and so it's hard to program out 3-4 years and guess what inflation is going to do. So we currently think we can fund these projects. The other thing is project development. If something would happen bridges sometimes program themselves. If there's things deteriorate, they may change the order. And it's the same thing with our pavements. We've got at least one stretch up in the northwest part of the county that is Marble Road that is not programmed I think it's not programmed until 28. We may have to move that up just because of its condition. It seems to be deteriorating faster than some of them are ahead of it. And we can swap those out. We also, you'll notice in here in fiscal 25, we do not have any resurfacing in there because The accomplishment year projects are both FM and the farm and market account. We can only borrow that ahead so far. So we have to let the farm and market kind of recover because we're spending more than what's going in. And that gives farm and market a year to get healthy and only 6 weeks of that. Are there any questions that you had when you were doing the? I did do a map of the accomplishment year projects if you want to see where they are in the county. You want to check that out, they're labeled as far as what they are.
It's really helpful for me.
And the, you know, the big local project, there's Wolf Lake, that Bristol Point. And we're still developing, you know, a feasible plan for that. It's going to be both one. That's the biggest hurdle, is that entire project has to be funded with our local construction.
Is there no plan for Ridge Road at this point?
Apparently not. What on Ridge Road?
We had talked about paving there 3 years ago.
Oh, you mean the 260th and Ridge Road area? That's not on there yet. No, but we have not gone much past concept phase on that. We're talking. I did have a conversation with a resident from the State Center area that wanted us to give real consideration to improving Hart Avenue from Old Highway 30 up to 29. There's a 4.5 mile section there. If you look at the map, there's kind of a break in our 3 and 4 mile grid of paved roads, and Hart didn't get extended up. But for the most part, I can tell you this because it was a road that didn't really go to another town.
Right.
And they try to connect towns with towns, and you know that may be why it never happened. I spoke with the resident for quite a while and explained to him what this project was going to cost, and even a low estimation right now would be $12 million to grade and pave that 4.5 miles, because there would be so much right of way that you have to acquire, and there would be likely 2 occupied dwellings that we would have to purchase.
Mhm.
And then again, crossing the tracks, and that's an expensive task to do. And I wasn't sure how you wanted the program presented. I know in future years we'll get our nice area. If you want maps of each accomplishment year, or if you want, you know, I can share a screen and go and do work or something if you want to see where things are at. Summary on the last page that kind of indicates what we're spending on each fund in the year. So you can see that we're taking that year of 25 to FM, get some more revenue in our local projects. We will fund those with our local option sales tax, assuming it's still there. You know, that we keep bridges. When we do a local bridge, we fund out with the loss. But we can't do $1 million every year on that because of the lost revenue. It's been somewhere around between 600,000 and 800,000 for secondary roads.
Yeah.
But actually real money with real projects that get funded because of that local option sales tax being
Unless they take them. Okay.
right.
Any other Questions, thoughts on the secondary roads construction program? 5-year plan?
I think after previous discussion, it's probably a good idea to keep evaluating the area around the dairy where, and if there is opportunity for funding. I know some of the funding happens or we become eligible for or apply for, but you can't have started work or started a project yet. So I think it would behoove us to just kind of watch for what we could do to
Yeah.
improve that area. 'Cause we want to encourage the, the activity, agricultural activity and expansion in the county. So,
Yeah.
But we want to make sure we've got the infrastructure to support it as well.
And I don't have the numbers on how many he employs, but he has quite a few employees out there.
He does?
So,
Yeah. Yeah. So maintaining the infrastructure around that is important, I think.
And those are qualified for farming market, I assume, most of those.
it just has to be on the system. I'm not positive if that is. Probably find out for you.
Can that be changed since that is used so heavily?
We can. We have a certain number of miles of farm to market, our farm to market system, and we have to go to the farm to market review board, state. And usually if you want to add something in the farm to market, you've got to pull something out because they don't want you just declaring all your roads farm to market. And it's so it's kind of deceiving because every road in Marshall County is ultimately a farm to market for somebody. But it's really a kind of it came out of a federal highway system, it maybe wasn't named exactly correct, but that's what it is. But I don't think that piece of that 245th is fine.
We have a motion to approve the secondary roads construction program.
I'll make the motion. We approve the secondary roads construction programs.
And I would second.
We have a motion to second. Do we have any other further discussion, questions, comments? Hearing none, roll call vote, please.
Kyle,
Yes.
Lossett,
Yes.
Hibbs.
Yeah.
Number 15, secondary roads, fiscal year 2024 Iowa DOT budget.
The easiest one of the three, if this does exactly mirror our recently approved fiscal 24, but there's just less categories, so it's not quite as many line items because they group them together. The big numbers are the same.
Since that's the case, I would make a motion to secondary roads FY 2024 DOT budget.
I'll second that.
Motion and second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, roll call vote, please.
Kyle,
Yes.
Lossett,
Yes.
Hibbs.
Number 16, approved transfer 941 secondary roads. Quarterly transfer of 700,000 from Rural Services Fund to secondary road fund.
So it is what it is. It's just a quarterly one.
I'll make the motion. We approve the transfer of the 941 secondary roads.
I'll second.
Yeah, motion and second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, roll call vote, please.
Kyle,
Yes.
Lossett.
Yes.
Hibbs.
Yes.
17, renewal, Visa's Vision Business Associate Agreement, selection of a plan option, discussion and possible action.
So the next three of these are all benefits that we currently offer to Marshall County employees. If we want to keep the same plan option that we currently have, which was the recommendation from Northwest when we recently met with them, that is plan option number 933. And so we can fill that in there in the motion for the Avises, the rest of them that number 18 Delta Dental and the Sourcewell for the all the different short and long-term disabilities and accidental death and life insurance, they have that bundle there. So these are just a renewal for the Avises is for 2-year, July 1 of 23 through June of 25. The dental is for a 1-year renewal, July of 23 through 24, as well as honor Sourcewell group for the AD&D, LTD, and STD, as well as our. So we'll make it easier for all 3 of those. Health will become yet to come there.
Can we do all of these in one motion, or do we need separate motions? Okay. I'll make a motion, number 17. Releases Vision Business Associate Agreement.
I'll second.
And that was for option 933.
Option 933.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? None, roll call vote, please.
Kyle.
Yes.
Awesome.
Yes.
Tips.
Yes.
And 18, renewal, Delta Dental Plan of Iowa, discussion, possible action.
At this point, I would make a motion to approve the contract with Delta Dental Plan of Iowa, which kind of employee dental benefit plan, effective July 1 of 23 to June 30th of 24.
I'll second that.
Motion and a second. Do we have any further discussion? Hearing none, roll call vote, please.
Kyle.
Yes.
Awesome.
Yes.
Tips.
Yes.
Item 19, renewal, Sourcewell Employee Benefits Program, discussion, possible action.
I'll make a motion that we renew the Sourcewell Employee Benefits Program. The Sourcewell for life, accidental death, government, long-term and short-term disability benefits from July 1st, 2023 to June 30th, 2024, and authorize the chair to sign.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, roll call vote, please.
Kyle.
Yes.
Awesome. Tips.
Yes.
Thank you for all that information and work on that, Dan.
Thank you, Jeannie. Let's put it where it's really due.
Thank you for your department, for your assistance.
Yes, absolutely.
All right, number 20, public forum. Says I had to make public comment on topics of county business other than those listed on the agenda.
I would.
Yes.
You're all right. My name
Perfect.
is Carol Haney. I work in the clerk court's office. And I wanted to discuss the counter area in our new our office at the courthouse. One of the counters is, well, all of our counters actually are designed to be at 30 inches. The one in the main office will also be 30 inches and have a banker box for us to pass documents and books back and forth to the abstractors. That counter would be used mostly by attorneys, abstractors, and people filling out paperwork. Obviously, this isn't going to fit in the banker box, not going to work. And I just want to address it. It was something that we had asked for 4 or 5 years ago when Jimmy Peters with OPN was involved with design, and evidently it just got dropped along the way, And it came to my attention that I assumed it was going to be, at a working level with an open area that we could accommodate our customers with. But the last 2 tours, Lucas brought it to my attention that, that wasn't the case. And I just want to address it. If this is something we can change, wonderful, but it will not work the way it's been designed. And that's pretty much
So it's set at 30 inches. Would need to be
higher and not with the banker box. There's no way I'm gonna be able to.
It's not a anchor box, it's just like a little pass-through dip under thing in the glass, so,
Yeah.
yeah, we
Like the
can't
money,
do.
a
Yeah,
money pass.
yeah,
Yes,
it's.
and see, and
it's the whole
that,
thing's full.
obviously that would work at our cashier's counter, but not at that.
Yeah, we're real late in the game, like the counter's already built, the millwork is already installed and had been, when we spoke about it last time, the millwork, the counters that it sit on were already there, like they've been built for months and months, so changing the counter height and that configuration would be, we'd lose a ton of time and it costs a lot of money, like, that's what it comes down to. I mean, anything can be done if you have the time.
Are they returning these books or are they giving and returning both directions?
Yes.
Is it attorneys that are,
No, the abstractors use these to find the case number of the file that they're wanting to check out. And then
would it be something that those folks could be allowed back in your office?
I've been told that's not gonna happen because we're working behind locked doors now. We're not gonna have that little door.
I don't know how to solve this quite yet. I guess I didn't ever understand that we would be passing books back and forth at that countertop, which is difficult, being the bullet resistant setup that it is.
I don't either,
I don't
but
know.
we'll be as
Yeah, I
accommodating
mean,
as-
other than like, meet them at the door, the entry door and say, you're staying on this book, I don't know. At this point, how to solve that. quite
We've
yet.
been overcoming obstacles for 5 years, everybody in this room, so I mean, if that's our only alternative. That's our only alternative. I just wanted it to.
And that's
I
a-
wanted it out there that that wasn't the design that I'd asked for, and I didn't realize. In the 11th hour that it was.
Do architects have any documentation of?
Yeah, we have a lot of programming stuff. I'll go back through that. How often would you say that, the abstractors come and get a book like that?
Right now, we go out and retrieve files twice a week. And they will come and go through, index books. I would say probably at least twice a week. Sometimes daily. It depends on what they're working on and what the legal statement it is at the time.
It is the glass the issue. If the glass comes down too far.
It's the connection of everything. So you can't, being a bullet resistant process, you can't have a gap in the glass. So the glass comes basically all the way down the countertop, and then there's probably a 2-inch radius pass through that's meant for papers, not a book.
So there's not a direct line.
No, there's no direct line because then it would be, the
Yeah.
bullet resistant at
Right.
that point would be a waste of time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Plus the counter is so low, that's gonna be awkward for them, but like I said, we can always set a table out there, they grab the book and put it on a higher table, so they can view it easier.
Okay.
What was your original desire? Was it to have the bulletproof glass or to not?
we have to.
It's a requirement? What
I think
requirement?
it is. I thought it was a requirement for the clerk of court. I thought it was. Yeah, I thought it was a requirement.
Because I can certainly check with
Who's
Jim
requiring?
Evans.
Yeah, I don't know if it was a requirement or a request. This is the direction we're going, but because that was part of the initial program and conversations that we all had.
I can check with Jim Evans on that and get back to you.
Okay. Now, if he
What
checks
would
it.
your preference be?
A working height,
But
with an opening.
so you're okay with the opening? You
You
weren't
don't
requesting that.
shoot.
Yeah, you aren't requesting resistant, consistent.
I mean, personally, I don't know if it's a requirement, you know, and that's something that I'll research and find out. But no, that would not be something that I would request.
If there was a way to pass through and have it shut on your side and open on the other side, you could go around that. It's-
The only problem is some things that, especially with like active share situations, I mean, that's been very prevalent in our society for a long time. It's not just Iowa, it's all over the country, but you know, what was not required in the past, there's a lot of things that, you know, have started kind of moving towards, hey, we need to kind of do this X, Y, and Z, because you know, the great thing is to have that pool, but until the first person gets shot, unfortunately, there's a lot of people out there that want to go about that things. And we see a lot more of it, so it's scary.
Something to work on.
Well, I think we figure out what the real requirement is. See if you can find out what exactly happened with the request she had that this didn't happen. And I don't think it hurts to find out what that cost would be and what delay would cause, and then we'll just come back and decide from there what to do.
And we can set up a meeting too about seeing about a temporary workaround too.
Thank you.
Where we can decide the workaround or whether, just to know what exactly we're dealing with, before we say, no, we're not gonna do that. I would feel.
Or,
I just don't think the cabinets are here.
Yeah.
The glasses, the glass on the bedroom, the quartz is probably getting installed right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's,
And that's why
but by the end of next week, this thing's
I
done.
didn't know how else to get it in as soon as.
Just so we know, I'd like to know what we're dealing with, but the fact it was for long, I see what all things are going on the table.
I will, I'll get that information to you today.
Thank you.
Thank you, you guys.
Yeah. I've got
No, it's been interesting.
Good. Okay.
two things. I actually, when you were talking about the dairy, I text Holly Blood, she said I could share this information. She has, they're at 50 employees and actually trying to get a few more for summer to cover her vacations. So just an informational there on how many employees they're at. When I did a tour there before they did the expansion, I think they were at 26 to 28. So it about doubled when they did that expansion. So, and again, summer, I think it's for vacation purposes as well. Like her text indicates. The other piece I just wanted to share, and this is something I've done in prior years, and I ran it by Jared because it was a new thing. I think he'd heard about it, but not heard about it. I'm on a board that's called the Philip Perry Holton Scholarship Board. It's a scholarship just for Marshall County graduates. You have to graduate in Marshall County High School. So West Marshall, East Marshall, and Marshalltown.
GMG.
Nope.
That's high school.
High school is in Darwin. It also does not work for anybody that is homeschooled because they get their diploma in the state of Iowa. Both of those were court decisions based on the trust that has been set up. We give out around $125,000 a year. It's renewable for 4 years. So they get roughly $1,000 a year. And I'm having that meeting in the election center, which I emailed Carol and Judge Crawford, because he's the one that uses that. It's Tuesday, April 25th. It starts at 5:15. So I told Judge Crawford if he sometimes works late. I said, you can happily sit there and work at your computer and you're not going to disturb us in the least because we'll be out in that front area and we'll be done with court by then. So just wanted to share with the public. And I did run this meeting by the ethics, the head of the ethics board when he attended an auditor school, because auditor school is fun. And he said, as long as I would be willing to allow someone else in the election center. I said, anybody that's willing to give our kids scholarships, I'd happily sit there and open the election center for them once a year and let them have a meeting anytime. So just wanted to share that with the public, and it's always good to get that out there too, that this is available for our local graduates. So.
It's great. Thank you.
Yeah.
Anything else from anybody today?
The road adjacent to the dairy is not from. But so it's local funding effort for anything you can around there as well.
But we could designate it as farm to market.
It could possibly be, we could request the farm market board decides if what we're saying makes sense. And
No,
yeah,
knowing the board, would this be a situation that you think they would approve, or just no past decisions, or?
it would be a route that would connect up with Highway 30, and then, there's plenty of truck traffic on it. I mean, we've got a route that it can't go 16 hours without having truck traffic. So, just because of the way the dairy is set up. So I think it would have a pretty good chance. Usually they want it to connect up with other farm to market routes, but it's going to connect up to Highway 30.
Would that, so that frees up other funding up. What about where John Hall was looking at some opportunities to raise funding?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think those are system specific to anything.
Okay.
But yeah, we should look at any of those opportunities that are there.
I've been approached again by the folks at Green Mountain to consider some signs for Jake brakes. I think I'm not supposed to call them Jake brakes, engine brakes. So it's something I'll put on the agenda for our next board. So be thinking about it. Yeah, they're not asking for the sheriff's department to.
They just want to.
It's an
give a
awareness.
ticket. It's just an awareness thing. So we'll talk about it in 2 weeks. We've also had a lot of calls, it seems like, from garbage.
It's that time of year, just like Joel said, the garbage gets hidden by snow and shit. It melts out, it's there. But
This is purposely dumping. Or is it-
well, it's not always, just like the one that you said on, was that the Vance? We can't prevent it, but we pick stuff up. Generally what happens is, I think there's some communication with the sheriff's office even when we find it. Because we want to know if this has been looked at or if it's going to be looked at, because we don't want to tamper with anything until a deputy goes through and sees if there's something they can act on. But the garbage we want to get picked up as quickly as we can. We don't give it like down stop sign priority, but we do go get it within, a week or so. And we can get out there and get it, because any of those places where there's garbage that people can see, they start thinking they're going to dump there too. And garbage begets garbage, and like the large appliances multiply. It's crazy.
Have the fees gone up at the landfill? Yes, they have. Okay. That might be part of the reason.
It's been a while, so it was like 6 months ago.
It probably wasn't more than $5 a ton, maybe 10.
I think their minimum grace is what it was.
And if you look at my budget, you can see how much I put on there for tire disposal. 60% of those tires aren't Marshall County equipment tires. Tires that we pick up in the ditch and we go pay to have them disposed.
Just a reminder, this week is National Telecommunicators Week. So if you have not contacted Dispatch yet, contact them to. Happy Dispatch.
Call 911, say thank you.
Make sure you put that out.
Don't make me come customer. That is misuse of 911, sir. Misuse of 911.
Non-emergency.
That's not emergency.
That's a misdemeanor.
Anyone else? On to adjournment. The next regular session is Wednesday, April 26th, 9 a.m. for the Marshall County Sheriff's Complex third floor. All business we act upon that session should be submitted to the Auditor Recorder's Office or the Board of Supervisors Office by Wednesday, April 19th at noon. There being no further business to come before the board, the meeting is adjourned.